let's pivot for a second to what's going on in New York City, because I think we would have seen it either way, but certainly Trump is going to be very excited at the idea that he's going to be able to send troops into New York City after Mamdani gets elected. And I think, I would anticipate we're not going to see that until next spring or so after he's inaugurated, if he wins. But before we get there, your thoughts about this race in New York City. People should be early voting right now. And if not, if you have already, canvass and call for Mamdani. But go ahead, Jeet.
Yeah, I think the main interest of the race is just how much there continues to be a freak out over Mamdani, and particularly Andrew Cuomo is not gonna losing graciously on this. He's going in on a really ugly way, talking about 9/11. That incredible AI ad, which I guess they took down and they blamed on a junior staffer, but still, one of the most, you would have to go back to Birth of a Nation to find something so explicitly racist. But I think that this is sort of, and also I have to add, just the sort of incredible curlishness of the Democratic establishment, where Jeffries endorsed Mamdani, but wouldn't say his name, and actually spent most of his time criticizing him in the endorsement. I think Schumer still has not said who he will vote for.
We played it yesterday. He ran away from a question asking him from Manu Raju, are you going to vote for Mamdani? And he basically walked away. And Raju was like, the election is next week. Voting has already started, and he won't answer the question. He said, we're still having conversations. Who's buying this anymore, and who is this for other than the Zionist donor class? Seriously. Or billionaire donor class.
That's exactly it. And also I'd mentioned Hillary Clinton, who, has said, she will not, I don't live in New York.
Let's play this clip. Hillary Clinton, this is number 16. This is fascinating. I mean, does Bill Clinton
former senator from New York? I just the reason I say that is because you'll understand why that's relevant when she in her response here.
And does Bill Clinton not still have his office in Harlem?
Epstein Island?
In Harlem, yeah. And Bill Clinton endorsed Cuomo in the primary.
Yeah. This was embarrassing. I guess this was where was she on this?
This is called the Unholy Pod.
Okay.
Byline is two Jews on the news.
Okay, cool. She was asked here yesterday on the Unholy podcast about whether or not Mamdani poses a threat to Jewish people in New York City.
Next week in this city, it does seem like Mamdani will become mayor. I'm going to ask this quite bluntly. Do the Jews in this city have a reason to be concerned?
We'll have to see what happens. I hope not.
The fact that this is someone who talks about, doesn't denounce the slogan, globalize the Intifada. What are your thoughts when you think of that?
I do not believe that we are able to predict what's going to happen. I can't sit here and tell you. I can only hope that there will be whatever happens in the election, and it hasn't occurred yet. So everybody should go out and vote. But it is important, to deal with whatever the reality is next Wednesday, whatever it is, and for people to play as constructive a role as possible in making sure that we don't face the kind of worries and concerns that have been expressed.
If you had a vote in this city, would you vote for Zoran Mamdani?
You know what? I don't vote in this city. I'm not involved in it. I have not, been at all even asked to be involved in it, and I have not chosen to be involved in it. I will be there the day after, and everybody else should be too, no matter what happens.
What do you mean the day after?
What the freaking what? This is just absolutely.
Boy.
I mean, I want to put a pin in this aspect of the conversation as we go forward here, but because you're talking about Cuomo, but this type of deployment of fake anti-Semitism, in anti-Semitism innuendo, okay, which has been going on, really increasingly over the past 2 years, in particular because of what the genocide Israel's been involved in. But this type of stuff, it is about to blow up in the faces of everyone who actually genuinely cares about anti-Semitism and has some skin in the game in this. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I want to put a pin in that. But it's disgusting what they're doing. And Cuomo's right out in front.
It actually ties in with, I wanted to talk about, like, there's a kind of, this election is really about two competing different visions of what a multicultural, pluralist America is. Because you see the Zoran's campaign, and he's doing all these like ads in like Hindi, in Urdu, and in Yiddish. And in all these ads, he's saying the same message: we're all New Yorkers together. We all have an affordability issue. So you're acknowledging, it's a pluralistic America with many different people from many different cultures, and we have a commonality and a common purpose. Now, I think Cuomo is a different type of multiculturalism. It's a multiculturalism of fear. And when we're familiar with this from the Republican side, there's a famous Republican strategist, Ken Phillips, who's one of the originators of the Southern strategy and of the appeal to George Wallace white ethnics. And he said, politics is about knowing who hates who. Like if like in this neighborhood, the Irish don't like the blacks, that gives you a leverage. And Cuomo has always been about that politics. He's always been about knowing who hates who. And I would remind people, and it's a little bit like, shocking language, but Andrew Cuomo, his introduction to political life is 1977. His father was running for mayor of New York and against a closeted gay man, Ed Koch. And Andrew Cuomo came up with the slogan, "Vote for Cuomo, not the homo." And that there's a continuity between that moment and this moment. Saying Zoran is an anti-Semite, playing to fears the way Hillary Clinton and Cuomo have both been doing. These people are practitioners of the multiculturalism of fear, of using anxiety about racial oppression to sort of herd people and to turn people against each other. And there cannot be a bigger difference between that and what Zoran is offering. It's really a choice. Do you want a multiculturalism of hope, or do you want a multiculturalism of fear?
And I mean, the idea that, let's say, a Jewish Senate candidate in Michigan, that there would be a podcast that would ask a politician, do you think that Palestinians or Muslims living in Michigan should be afraid because this politician running for statewide office is Jewish and supports Israel? Do you think they should be afraid? And for like a Hillary Clinton or any type of supposed past or vying for some type of relevance within the Democratic Party now, for anybody in any position of responsibility to even imply that, well, we got to wait and see. I don't know. I mean, anything could happen here.
I mean, the use of the phrase "the day after" is
insane.
It's like she's acting like she's back in the streets with her hard hat on after 9/11. Like that is what she's invoking. And it is some of the most, when you go back to that Cuomo ad talking about the racism in this race, the Democratic Party really needs to contend with the deeply racist Zionist element in the party. It is a massive, massive threat to, like, we're hearing all this stuff like we should throw away wokeness or multiculturalism in a certain way because how are we going to be able to win back the rest of the country with this? It's like, actually, multiculturalism and being tolerant of other people is pretty easy to sell if you're not the biggest hypocrite on the planet and you're not engaging in some of the most disgusting Islamophobia and bigoted attitudes towards the rock star that has come out of this party in this year.
Yeah, no, I would say so. I would add, I mean, I think that, like, obviously the Zionist component is a big part of this. It gives people a license to do this stuff. But it's a broader political vision that I think the Clintons and Cuomo have had from the start. And one sees that they have always been willing to use identity politics against the left. And, like Hillary Clinton famously, like, if you, like breaking up the banks will not end racism, right?
Right.
Like I think it's part of the same. They have always had a very cynical willingness to deploy, legitimate fears that people have about anti-Semitism or of racism, but to use it to shore up the status quo. And I think that what's striking is just how desperate they are, and the extent that they're willing to go to now. I genuinely think this campaign, the last 2 weeks, the level of out of control racism is something like it is at the same level as Trump in 2016 in his campaigns. I really don't see how you could say that what Hillary Clinton is doing is any better than
she ran a racist campaign against Obama. She ran,
exactly, they've always had this sort of cynical willingness to do this, and I think the fact that they are doing it in such lurid terms is a sign of their fear. They are genuinely afraid that they're going to lose control, not just their party, but their whole status. And I have to say, if I were Hillary Clinton, I would be, because
I think those fears are justified. I really do think those fears. We're seeing the same stuff deployed against Plattner up in Maine. Now, regardless, well, I'm happy to relitigate this stuff later in the show, but not while Jeet is here. But regardless of whether you think that there is actual sort of concern or not in terms of Plattner, it is clearly, as a tactic, not working. I mean, it is clearly not working. Again, I'm happy to litigate this.
People can see through it. It's been used. They've used this too often. It's lost its potency, and it's actually they've done real damage to this, because it actually makes it harder to fight real racism and real anti-Semitism.
That's the perfect segue.
They are the wolf boy that cried wolf.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.